Yo, what's up guys, GRIFFINGFX here. So recently I had a client request a 3D model of himself to use for his cover art. He sent me a screenshot of the new 6IX9INE single and said he wanted something in this style. If you've been subbed to me for a while, you know I actually made a fake 3D modeling tutorial around a year ago. But this specific portrait style I believe will be of more interest because of how easily anyone can create themselves as a 3D model. Now I'm calling these fake 3D models because we're going to be making them in Photoshop and not in a 3D modeling program. This is because I know most of my viewers are Photoshop users, but if you want to take this effect to the next level and model it for real, then drop a like and I might make a part 2. I think this would be cool because we could then look at animating our character like you see on screen right now. Anyway, here we have a speed art time lapse of the client work that I created in the thumbnail, and you will see that I use 6IX9's face as a template to help me start shaping the design. In this video I'll be going over the basic shape creation, the color, shading and blending techniques that you need to create these shiny plastic looking 3D models. These make for great single or album covers, or you could even just use them as profile pictures on social medias. Everything in this video is going to be completely free. Everything you need to download will be in the description, so drop a like and subscribe if you like the video, and without further ado, let's jump into Photoshop and begin the tutorial. Okay guys, so I've just gone ahead and I've opened up a Photoshop document and I've made it 3000 by 3000 pixels. What you see here is some assets that I've made. I'm going to put this in the description, you can go ahead and download it. Basically you can use some of these features if you want to kind of take a little bit of a shortcut. The eyes are already made for you, you can take these all individually and use them on your piece. But for the people who want to go ahead and actually learn how to make this themselves, let's get straight into it. And you can see also there's the head shape here. But obviously any head shape really works, not any head shape. You know, some head shapes are not going to work, like a triangle probably won't work. But yeah, let's open up this canvas a little bit bigger over this way so we have some room to get creative. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a background color. I always like making a background color, it'll help us make the image pop a little bit. I'm going to go for like a green, like a vibrant green. Alright, so step 1 will be to create the head. Now I'm going to use this head shape, but for real you can just like literally screenshot a picture of anyone's head and then just do a rough stroke around the outside to capture their head shape. You want it to be a little bit cartoony and playful, which is why it's kind of so circular. That's definitely going to help it look like a 3D model. So the first thing to do is to go ahead and pull the ruler so that it snaps right in the middle of this design that we've got here. And the reason we're going to be doing this is because we're going to do everything in halves and then we're going to flip it over and make the other half repeat itself, because with most of these 3D models they're pretty much symmetrical. So how we do this is by using the pen tool to go ahead and draw around this head shape that we've created. Alright, so we'll go for something like that, and then once you've made your selection and hit OK, you can go ahead and you can fill it in. So I'm going to pick a rough skin color here, and using the gradient bucket I'm going to hit paste. So I've now realized that green and red, green and this skin color really don't look very good together, so I'm going to pick a new color. I think it might have to be red again because I just feel like it pops the most. So once we've got that, we can actually remove the stroke from behind, and I can tell you what I was trying to explain. If you press Ctrl J, you're going to duplicate this layer. I've binded flip horizontally to F3. But if you can't do that, then you just want to go edit, transform and flip horizontal, and then we'll connect it together, make sure that there's no gap in between like that, and then merge. So click both the layers, right click and merge. So now this is basically the basic of creating your shapes. You're going to be using the pen tool to create the shape, making a selection and filling it in. Super simple stuff. And now it's the shading bit. This is where we start to add the depth to the face. So faces typically have a pattern in which areas are light and which areas are dark. Typically the forehead will be bouncing a bit of light, and the sides of the head, unless there's sun hitting him from the sides will be the shadowed areas. So how we do this is we make a really big brush with the hardness all the way to 0. I want it to be a little bit bigger than that. Maybe something around here. This is very big, but this should work. And then we'll make the brush completely black, so we get this when we click. Now as you can see, what I've done is I've made a clipping mask layer. So over here on the right, this layer here, I've right clicked and I've clicked create a clipping mask. And what that means is that if I'm doing a brush, it only goes onto this layer and it doesn't go behind the image. So now we can start to add the shadow simply by drawing off to the side of the face like this. See how easy that is? And we have a very cool looking potato. And then you can lower the opacity like that. And then you could maybe go again with a smaller brush so that when you get right to the edge, oh, we need to clip the mask again, so that when we get right to the edge, it goes a little bit darker. It's going to look more realistic the more gradient layers you have, although even just doing one is probably enough to make it look cool. Something like that, and lower the opacity of that. Makes it look nice and 3D. And then to do the light, it's the exact same thing, so you want to make sure you go to the layer above, create a clipping mask, click the white brush this time instead of a black brush. Maybe just add like a few little blobs of light. Maybe around where the nose is there would be a little bit of light, and then you drop the opacity right down just like that, so it looks like a little bit of light is kind of hitting our potato. Right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the eyeballs in like this. So if you want to make your own eyes, this is so simple. It's a white circle, a black circle on top, and another white circle. And then I've done what I've done on the potato, which is to add this kind of black shadowy bit around the side of the eyeballs, just to make it look a little bit three-dimensional. With the 6IX9 one, you can see they also added a bit of colored lighting. This looks cool if you really want the image to pop, but I think the eyes look more powerful when they're just completely black, so that's why I'm leaving them how they are. Now the nose is actually one of the most complex bits to do, which is why I decided that I was going to share this one that I've already made. Effectively, you want to make the nose shape with the pen tool, which will be something like that. That was awful. Let me fix that now. So it don't matter too much, but something like this, and then you'll fill it in, and then using a rubber, we'll turn the hardness to 0 and make the brush really big. You can kind of rub out the top like that, and then you would want to delete the nostril holes like this. Nostril holes, oh my god. Like that basically, and then you basically place the darker shadow inside the nose. So you go to the layer underneath. I'm going to tool pick this color that we have over here, and you draw it in like that. Now we'll make it go everywhere, I guess, and then we'll use the big rubber to go like that, and then you can erase what you have down the bottom. Obviously, if you spend a bit longer with this, then you can make it a lot more neat so that you don't have bits like this. You can see here, it just takes a bit of tidying up. But effectively, that's the nose, and then I've just done the lighting bit on top, which is to pick a nice white and then to go on top with a little bit of light like that. And then with the mouth, it's a similar thing. You guys, I'm sure you can use the effects that I've taught you to do this. I made just one tooth, and then I copy and pasted all of the teeth together like this, and it's the same thing. It's the shape of a tooth, and then we just use these shadow effects just to go around the edges to create this 3D effect, and the exact same thing with the tongue. Because the time lapse at the start of the video showing you how I made the original piece was cut short, I'm gonna put it at the end of this video, so if you want to see the process for this entire design, then don't worry, you can check that out at the end of the video. Behind the eyes, I think it looks quite good just to add a very small shadow so that it looks like the eyes are kind of sat on the face. I would do this just by clicking a few times like that. Just creates that kind of dark bit around the eyes. You do this with the mouth as well. How I did it originally was by making a pen tool like this around the outside of the mouth, and then I went and made a stroke path so that it perfectly made a shadow around the mouth. Obviously this is a bit wonky right now because I did it really quickly, or you can just as easily go around with your own brush like that. If you struggle to keep a steady hand, then you can turn your smoothing to 100, and what this does is it means the brush plays catch up with your stroke, making it a lot easier to do a nice smooth stroke the whole way around. I'm gonna have a go at doing some dreadlocks. I'm gonna do this by turning the hardness back up to 100, making the brush a little bit bigger, and then we can go ahead and simply add some dreadlocks. So I'm thinking maybe this is about the right size. I like to go quite exaggerated with these models. If you try to make too many details, it's not going to look like a 3D model. You want to make it kind of look like a bobblehead, so everything is really big and friendly and playful. So the dreads we're going to make quite big, and I'm going to do a different layer for each dread. Right, and then the magic with these comes from when you start to add the lighting. So if we click on one of these and go to blending options and change the color to a dark brown like that, I'm going to copy that layer style and I'm going to apply it to all of these. Now we're ready to start adding the lighting effects. So let's select the dreadlock that we'd like to apply it to. I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to make a layer above it, and I'm going to make a clipping mask. Now we're ready to go ahead and add the lighting. So it's important to make a decision where the sun's coming from. I'm going to pick this direction up here, like that, which means that the light is going to be hitting from the top left angle, like that. So maybe kind of like a water drop shape like that. Right click, make a selection, go to our clipping mask, and now we're going to turn the hardness down so that we can get a slight gradient. And I'm going to choose white, make our brush nice and big, and I'm going to click once in the direction that the light's coming from, like that. So that is how you can make the depth of the hair, and then you just want to lower the opacity until you get your desired effect. Maybe overlay layer will look cool as well. That basically just adds a little bit of color to the design instead of making it white. So I think that looks quite nice. You might be able to get lucky and kind of reuse the shape that you've got onto the other layers, but you have to keep the sun direction in mind, so we're going to move it a little bit. I'm not going to do all of them because it's a little bit time consuming, but what we can then do is start to add the shadow to the dreadlocks. So if we pick the dread and make another clipping mask, so because the sun's coming from the top left, the shadow will be coming from the bottom right, so we want to draw it just like that. This also starts to create the three-dimensional effect here as all the hairs start to meet, which is quite important. Do this to a few of the layers. So there you go, that would be how you'd make dreadlocks, and then you could even add some other colors to them by clicking on the one that you'd like to color and selecting if you want to do like a colored tip like that. Maybe it would be blonde. Going like that, it could look quite cool. I don't think that works because of the shadow, so you'd have to move the shadow underneath that bit. I'm going to go ahead and drag these eyebrows on because eyebrows are very important to the potato's face. These eyebrows were super simple to make. They were just made with the pen tool, and then all I did is I selected a little bit of the pen tool to make the cut through, and then I used the eraser tool, but with the hardness turned down, meaning that when I clicked I got a little bit of a gradient effect like that. Alright. Now we need to add our ears. Ears are very simple to do. I'll make these from scratch. You just want to create a rough ear shape. It really don't matter how they look. And go like that. And then we'll pick the skin color and we'll color it in. Then you want to make a clipping mask above this layer. And you want to add some of the ear shadows. So once again, you don't have to study your ear to do this. Just do kind of what looks like it makes sense to you. I'm sure it'll be fine. Click and then lower the opacity, and then if you make another clipping mask right over the top, then you can start to add the shadow effects that you need to add. So for example, where it's attached to the face, it's probably going to be a little bit of a shadow, and because the sun is in the top left, we will make the light come off like that, and then you can lower the opacity again, just like that. So yeah, ears are super simple. Those ears look a little bit weird, but I recommend you spend longer than I'm spending on all of this, otherwise it's going to look as messy as mine does right now. But you guys know that I don't like making my tutorials too long. I like to teach you the basics. If you're annoyed that I haven't gone into enough detail with any of this, then just drop a comment. Like I said, I might be extending this series, so I do a few episodes, teach you how to 3D model for real, but maybe you guys can help each other down in the comments if I have left anything out. Anyway guys, this is the basics of how to fake 3D model. The more you practice, the better you'll get. So for example, you could add some cheek color by going like this and then lowering the opacity just so you get some little rosy cheeks. And then you could also make them like a little white bit above that, and maybe go overlay, lower the opacity. See how we're getting a few different colors in there. The more you practice with this, the better you're going to get at fake 3D modeling. You know, I think this is a very fun effect. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. You don't have to just make faces. Obviously you can use this effect to really create absolutely any asset for yourself or for your clients. Drop a comment and leave a like if you want part 2. My next video is going to be the Q&A, and I also need to close the Discord giveaway. I know that's been going on for a while. I apologize about that, but anyway guys, that's it from me. Take care. Peace.